Hey guys, it's your boy Trev here, and today we will be playing Jolt of the Toronto Staraptors in the division round of the NPL Championship, or not NPL Championship, sorry, NPL playoffs. Basically, it's the second round of the NPL playoffs as the two wild cards, Danza and the LA Neo Kings and Togue of the Portland Timbers have already played. As you notice, Tampa Bay technically made it in the playoffs, but they forfeited their game because they didn't want to play in the playoffs. Zero didn't want to play any more Pokemon for now, so Dance's in the playoffs. So, short explanation on that. We're not here to focus on that. We're here to focus on Jolt. Now, Jolt, his team is scary, really scary. Even though we beat him in Week 6, he made some misplays with Encore, and he possibly could have won the first game if Showdown had not crapped out, as it was looking to be a game in his favor, even though it was 6-6, as he usually plays longer games. He's used to those games, as whereas like hyper offensive games like the second game went really don't usually go his way. So because of that, it's kind of expected that he will beat me. It's kind of expected that I'm the underdog and I will get beat. However, I'm here to prove those other coaches wrong. I'm here to prove that I belong in the championship, as if I win, the winner of this game goes to the championship to play either the Detroit Galings or Danza and the LA Neo Kings, as Danza did win the wildcard game. I have no idea if that's going to be posted on the NPL channel. If it's not, then you know the result. If it is, then sorry for spoiling. But that's crucial to know who will be playing. So yeah, looking at Jolt's team, he has an MVP candidate in Mega Venusaur. He has Tornti, which is possibly the scariest threat to our team, and Polion to get rid of hazards and even set up hazards. Vaporeon, which is another MVP candidate for him. Very bulky on the special side. It really stops even Nidoking, unless I run physical Nidoking. Gliscor is probably his best thing to take on Charizard, although it still dies to 2 Flare Blitzes. Volcarona is also another scary threat. You see, it was only brought in 7 games, however, it's still finished with a +5 differential and 9 kills. Is a dangerous sweeper that's dangerous towards our team. We only have one thing on the entire team that can take hits, and if it gets to +1, it can't take hits anymore. So we have to make sure that that does not get up a sweep. Wobbuffet is surprisingly actually good against us, as it prevents Charizard from just straight up setting up without there being some sort of problem, whether I be encored into my setup move or he has a chance of countering one of my attacks, because Wobbuffet's pretty bulky. It can live even a +1 adamant Flare Blitz if it's physically defensive, so that could be a problem. Alexam is another big threat, as it's faster than all of my team and hits really hard, as you see 7 kills in 6 games. Hawlucha, that's another big problem. Just the sweepers in general are big problems. As you'll see, he brought that against me the first time. Didn't really work out for him. However, it could have worked out had I've been weakened a little bit, had the game gone a little differently last time. Next is Entei, which, as you see, 7 kills in 4 games. You'll see a very common thing, a common trend. Besides his defensive mons like Empoleon and Wobbuffet, and then Gyarados just wasn't brought that much, you'll see that he's very consistent in his kills. And that's because he likes to spread out the offense on his team. He doesn't usually let one mon kill like 5 things in a row, like Volcarona. One week got 5 kills, however, or 4 kills, and however next week it didn't. I don't even think it was brought. So he likes to spread out the offense, so I have to be on the lookout for that as well. So yeah, Entei, not that big of a threat towards my team. I do have Charizard, which can switch in on it, unless it carries Stone Edge, as even Bulldoze won't do that much, but Stone Edge could be a problem, which he could, if he did bring Entei, we'd probably bring Stone Edge, but I would have to scout for that. But I also have Alomola, so unless it's like sub-toxic Entei, it's not really that big of a threat at all. And Gyarados, I'm really not scared of that at all. He hasn't really brought it at all this year. Only 2 games, as you see, and it hasn't done any work. So why don't we get to the team building process? I'll see you right there. Hey guys, we're back with the team I'm going to be bringing for Jolt. This is about the 5th or 6th team, the final draft of 5 or 6 different teams, as I went through a lot because I really wanted to put in the work to make the championship, and I think it really paid off. So why don't we go right into it? So the first thing I needed rocks, as Volcarona, as discussed in the pre-game analysis, could sweep my entire team if it carried HP Rock or Ground. And yeah, so I need this Spadef thing to take 1 hit from Volcarona, no matter, even if it was like modest Fire Blast with a Life Orb. And Registeel surprisingly could take 1 if it was Spadef. It could also take on especially offensive Torn Key. It did a lot of things I needed. It took on the 2 biggest threats, and it could neuter them with Thunder Wave, or hit them hard with Rock Slide, or Ice Punch. Also, Ice Punch allows me to hit the Gliscor, as that could be a nuisance for my team. It won't do very much. I think it does about 30%, but it allows it not to just basically sit on this Registeel and let it do nothing. So Registeel can at least do a little bit damage, and most importantly, Stealth Rocks. And finally, Thunder Wave, like previously mentioned, allows me to take advantage. Well, not really take advantage. It helps me cover my disadvantage, because as you see, my team is really slow, with my fastest thing, I believe, being Charizard X, which while Trick Room could be nice, I don't really want to bring Trick Room because it's kind of risky. I haven't brought it all year this year. It would be really risky bringing it into playoffs, so I don't really want to do that. So next we have Cresselia, and much like the last matchup against him, it is a offensive Cresselia. Calm Mind, Psyshock, Ice Beam, and then Toxic for if he brings Wobbuffet. He can't just basically sit in there all day and be annoying. He will start taking passive damage if he wants to come in and stop my Cress's sweeping capabilities. It's got enough speed to outspeed standard Gliscor that has the 72 speed EVs. And then Psyshock actually has a really good shot of KOing Volcarona if it's just the standard no bulk Volcarona, and if there's rocks up, so that's nice. I didn't want to bring Hidden Power Rock because I brought Hidden Power Rock on like 2 things last time he played, so he might be expecting that actually, and either bring a Volker or more Spadef Volcarona with a little bit of Spadef investment, or he could even bring the Rock versus Fairy. So I'm baiting him to think I'll bring HP Rock on something, so that's why I am indeed not bringing HP Rock. Next, I needed something to heal up my whole team, because as you'll see, I didn't have any recovery on Cress, and which was really risky. However, Alamo's Wish can pretty much wish everything back up to full health except for Cress, which still gets a lot of HP back. And I also have Knockoff, because Knockoff is really nice, and he also has a lot of things that can come in Toxic. Wobbuffet being the only one that really only one of his walls that really can't take a Toxic, as Vaporeon can get Heal Bell, Gliscor gets Poison Hail, Venusaur's a Poison type, and Empoleon is a Steel type, so Toxic's really not going to help me out. Scald will help me kind of hurt his really big physical attackers, as well as do a little bit of chip damage to Volcarona if he wants to try to switch in. He won't be able to switch in for absolutely free, no damage. And obviously Wish Protect is there to guarantee that I can lift some hits. Regenerator is obviously there so I can switch in and out and keep my Alamolas at high HP, as this is my kind of check to his physical mons, as well as if he decides to bring physical Tornadus T, which is another option, as it does have high ish physical defense, and because of my slow nature of my team, he could even bring a plus attack nature, whether it be special or physical. Next, we have possibly the second biggest threat to his team, Porygon-Z, Choice Specs, Tri-Attack, Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam is there, so if I need to, I can one-hit KO pretty much everything on his entire team, except for Empoleon if it's Spadef. But even still, I can kill it from about half health. Hyper Beam is basically there to guarantee, if it's like a one-on-one situation, or it's just my Porygon-Z versus like something like a Spadef Mega Venusaur, that it guarantees me the win as long as I don't miss, because I might not be able to kill with 2 Tri-Attacks, or I might not be able to get off 2 Tri-Attacks. 2 Tri-Attacks are more powerful than the Hyper Beam. However, if I'm at like, let's say 20% and it's Mega Venusaur and it's at basically full health, I believe it does 97% minimum, so basically full health. 2 Tri-Attacks aren't going to kill, or I'm sorry, a Tri-Attack isn't going to kill except if it's like a crit. Even then it might not kill. However, a Hyper Beam would help me in that situation. That's pretty much what Hyper Beam is there for. It's not there to click spam every time, as he does have setup sweepers, so to take advantage of that, so I don't want to do that. Thunderbolt is there to hit Empoleon, as it's able to easily even 2-hit KO with the Spadef Empoleon, and Ice Beam is obviously there for Gliscor, as it does a bit more than Tri-Attack, actually a lot more than Tri-Attack. Finally, we have, not finally, I'm sorry, next to last we have Sword Stance Mega Charizard. Now it's a little bit of a risk with his team being so fast, and Charizard being my fastest thing, not bringing DD. However, Sword Stance does so much to his team, and if he decides to try and bring like kind of a stall-ish, bulky team, which he's not really a stall player, he actually really hates stall. However, he might be willing to resort to anything to beat me, and if he did bring stall, even DD Charizard would eventually kill itself off, and he could probably stall all my mons. So I don't want that to happen. Sword Stance blows right through his team. After a Sword Stance, I actually kill everything. Nothing can live a +2 Adamant Flare Blitz. And I'm running Adamant of Jolly because the only thing that Jolly would help me is for sure outspeeding Entei, as if he brought Entei with Extreme Speed, he'd have to be Adamant and maybe even Max Speed. But as I see, Entei's not really that big of a threat towards my team with Alomola and Charizard and Crest. And even Kabutops, so Adamant is just fine to run. Flare Blitz is there to nuke everything on his team after a Sword Stance. Dragon Claw is there because it actually has really good coverage against the team. If I had Dragon Claw last time against his team, I would have actually 6-0'd with Charizard, but that didn't end up happening because I brought Thunder Punch, so I couldn't hit Mega Venusaur or Gligar with Thunder Punch very well. So yeah, and then Roost is there just in case I can't pass a Wish Off into this thing before it gets too low of health to take a hit. So I don't really need Earthquake because again, Fire Dragon is really good against his team. Fire Dragon coverage, I'm sorry, it's really good against the team. And finally, but not last but not least, we have Adamant, Life Orb, Weak Armor, Kabutops. Now this is basically here to take a physical hit and then outspeed everything on his team bar a Scarf. I looked at his speed stats, and Adamant Kabutops hits about 390, 389, and nothing on his team bar a Scarf can outspeed that. I probably could have even ran a little bit of bulk, but on the off chance he ran like a kind of a slow Scarfer on his team for some weird reason, I didn't want to take that chance, so I just ran max speed Adamant. Stone Edge, Aqua Jet, Waterfall, and this was a really hard decision, as Superpower would allow me to hit his whole team really hard and pretty much 2-hit KO his entire team outside of physically defensive Mega Venusaur. With my coverage, as fighting Water Rock is really good against Jolt's team. However, Rapid Spin is key to keeping Charizard alive, and not only that, even though Charizard's my only weakness, I know he's going to be Rock because Charizard is a threat to his team. He's told me that before. He told me that before the game. And there was really no problem in him saying that, because it is. He knew I was going to bring it. I knew I was going to bring it. So there was no point in saying that, yeah, I'm bringing rocks because Charizard's on your team. So, I mean, there's no harm in him doing that. But yeah, so I'm glad to put Rapid Spin. As you'll see in the battle, it will do a lot of work. So yeah, let's get right into the battle, as it will be on Wi-Fi. Ignore that all of these were level 100. I meant to put them at level 50, but oh well. But yeah, it will be on Wi-Fi. And we are here at the battle. This has been a battle me and Jolt have been anticipating for a long time, as barring a incredible week 14 in which both the top teams lost, and I got the #1 seed, it was pretty much going to be me and Jolt. And we knew this the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Basically back to week 9, we knew that this was a very likely matchup, pretty much 90% confirmed, as Kyle was just running away with the league. So yeah, and before I get into the league matchup, huge shout out for Danza for recording this on his capture card, as I really wanted to get good quality. I could have recorded this on my phone, maybe even had a live of it, but I'd rather get you guys the best quality I can put out. And so yeah, big shout out to Danza. His link will be in the description. So, looking at the possible lead matchup, he has Tornadus T, Empoleon, and Gliscor, which can all lead off with my versus my team, as Empoleon and Gliscor could carry possibly rocks. Maybe both of them could carry the possible rocks. And then Tornadus has the best matchup versus my team, although Volcarona is a dangerous threat. He basically brought the 3 biggest threats to my team in the Tornadus T, the Volcarona, and the Alakazam, in that order. So this is going to be a tough uphill batch for me. However, I do have some good team matchups of my own in Crest, which unfortunately Toxic is going to be kind of useless, as he brought 4 things that aren't affected by Toxic, and the 2 things that are don't really need to be Toxic, as he didn't bring Wobble Fed. So I could have put Moonlight, but I do think Toxic was still the best move I could have brought in the 4th move slot. However, the rest of the matchup is actually pretty good, as Charizard, Porygon Z, and even Kabutops are looking to put in a lot of work in this game. So, why don't we start right off with the battle, and here we go. Alright, so Jolt is going to be issuing the challenge. He's going to lead off with Tornadus Team, one of the possible 3 leads I said he could lead off with, and the most offensive definitely out of the leads. Now here, he's going to go for the taunt, and I honestly did not expect this at all. He played me. I just went for the Thunder Wave, as I thought he wouldn't have taunt, or he would just switch out into something that could take a T-Wave. However, taunt was unexpected, so good play on his part. I'm going to go for a Rock Slide to try and do damage to the Tornadus. However, he makes a good play and goes on Gliscor. I should have gone for Ice Punch, thinking back on it, as Ice Punch would have still done a decent amount to Tornadus and hit this Gliscor for about 30 to 35%. I'm going to make aggressive offensive switch into my Porygon Z, as I know I can take this thing out with a Tri-Attack, unless it's Spadef Gliscor, but looking at his team, he really has nothing for Charizard, so this is his best answer. He has to be physically defensive. So he's going to go into his Poleon, which at least must be somewhat Spadef, as if he was physically defensive, he would almost be 2 KO by that Tri-Attack. And even though he said he wasn't max Spadef, he ends up being like having 128 and a Calm Nature in Spadef. It still does a lot. That's showing the power of Choice Specs Modest Porygon Z. So I'm going to go right back into my Registeel, as I can switch in on any of this thing's moves. Even if he carried a super effective hidden power, it wouldn't do anything because he's a defensive Empoleon. He does get the burn, which is unfortunate, as I won't be able to do too much, as much to Volcarona with Rock Slide, and I won't be able to do anything to the Gliscor, basically just poison heal damage. So that's been unfortunate. However, this is a free opportunity to set up my rocks, as since he's faster than me, if he stayed in, he couldn't defog them away the first turn. So I'm going to set up my rocks, and here I predict him to predict me to go for another move other than T-Wave, and at first I look at this and I'm like, whoa, I actually did. Predicted him correctly, as he actually goes for the bulk up, and that's really scary. However, I will be safe with this T-Wave, as it's going to be slowed down. Everything on my team is going to outspeed it. We're all going to be fine and dandy. No problems at all. Oh shit, it's Lumberry Tornty. He lulled me into a false sense of security, and that is the second time Jolt has played me, and this is definitely the best play of the battle so far. So, like I said, good play by him. Again, he's been outplaying me so far the whole battle, and if I want to win, I'm going to have to step it up. So I'm going to switch into Alamomola, which is, again, my best check for physical attackers, as he does just go for the taunt, as he didn't want to risk my Registeel living the superpower, possibly being like physically defensive and living the superpower and getting off T-Wave and neutering his best Mon Torch's team, as this ends up being his best Mon Torch my team, as outside of Alamomola, I really can't take a +1 acrobatics with anything besides Crest, and Crest can't kill it, and this thing can just 2-hit KO with Acro, I believe, since I'm not that bulky on Crest. So I'm just going to go for 2 Scalds here, as he brings me down to 40 with 2 acrobatics. Unfortunately, I do not get either Scald Burn, which is going to make this game a lot harder on me, as if I got the Scald Burn on this Tornadus, it wouldn't have been an easy game, or even an easier game. Well, it would have been an easier game. It wouldn't have been an easy game, but it would have been an easier game. And here, luckily, he does not predict my switch into Registeel, or even Kabutops, and he just goes for the acrobatics, which even at plus, even though I resist that and I do have a lot of defense, as Kabutops is very naturally physically bulky, it still does well over half. And however, because of the weak armor speed boost, I am able to threaten him out. I'm just going to go for these. I believe I go for the Stone Edge here, and I do connect, as that's going to do a bit to Empoleon. As I said, he said he was 128 in Spadef, and he was max HP, and he had the other 128 in defense to take on Charizard, at least a little bit better to take a hit from it. So, he's going to go into Venusaur. Honestly, this could have been bad for him, as if I'd just gone for another Stone Edge, he would have been 2-hit KO'd, although he might have been banking on the Stone Edge. Miss, however, I just go for Waterfall, because I didn't want to miss, and I could have possibly gotten a flinch to, possibly, what's the word, let him not defog. However, he was fearing the superpower, that's why he switched out into the Venusaur. And he's just going to go back thinking Stone Edge is going to kill him, which is very not. So I'm just going to go, I just went for the Rapid Spin to sack my Kabutops, as it wasn't going to be very necessary in this battle anymore, as it did shove it. It's got his rocks off my side of the field, and because I died to my own life orb, and there's no target on the field, he's not going to be able to get my rocks off his side, and because Empoleon's so weak, it's going to die to any one of my mons except for like Alamomola, which I wouldn't bring in at this opportunity. I would be an idiot. But this is huge. This pretty much is what guarantees me that I don't lose the game, at least right away, as if I don't have rocks on his side of the field. Even if he got rocks on my side of the field, or even if I got rid of his rocks on my side of the field, if I don't have rocks on his side of the field, I lose, because Volcarona and Tornty take no damage on entry. Volcarona can take a hit from everything besides Charizard and just destroy my life. So here I'm going to predict him to superpower my Porygon Z, as I wanted the Porygon Z to finish off the Empoleon. So I go into Charizard to take the superpower, and it takes it really well considering I have pretty much no bulk at all. I'm pretty much just max attack, max speed, maybe like 4 in defense, I believe. Excuse me. But I'm just going to go for the Mega Evolution. Quick Flare Blitz, knowing that I can easily sponge a -1 acrobatics. And as you'll see, like I said, during the team analysis, I said that Charizard could 2-hit KO even a full physically defensive Gliscor, and it does. Here I make a very aggressive play and or not really aggressive play. I guess aggressive play would have been go for another 12 hits. However, I predict him to have protect, so I go for the sword stance as I couldn't kill him after another 12%. However, he makes the aggressive play and goes in Alakazam, possibly risking his focus sash, and then he makes a very good play of going to Shadow Ball, as I don't think Shadow Ball actually would have finished off Charizard, and I could have broken his sash there. So that was another great play by him. He's been making the plays so far this battle. So I'm just going to go for Ice Beam to break the Sing Sash. However, he goes into Gliscor, hoping that I go for like maybe a Psyshock to do a little bit more damage, as even though it's resisted, Psyshock actually does do more to Alakazam, as it doesn't have the greatest physical defense in the world. Actually, it's pretty shit. And Gliscor just absolutely dies. As he, like I said, he was probably hoping to take a Psyshock. And even if I did go for Psyshock, I actually did outspeed, which I don't think he knew, because I did run a lot of speed on this crest. And here, he makes a bit of a risky misplay. He did the calcs, I did the calcs. I had a 50% chance to kill this Volcarona with the modest Psyshock, and instead of going for Bug Buzz, he tries to risk it on the roll. And if he had set that up, if he had lived that, my team would have, I would have lost at that point. My only hope would have been trying to get Alamomola another regenerator and possibly live in a Bug Buzz at full health, but even that would have been kind of questionable if I could have lived. So he's just going to go for the Shadow Ball here. As we see before, it did well over, or almost 50%. It almost does another 50% here, as I'm going to be able to break this sash, which is really, really key in winning me the game, or if I want to win the game, sorry. So I'm going to switch out here, as I couldn't have taken a Shadow Ball anyway, but with the Spadef drop, there's absolutely no way, even if it was a min roll, that I could live at -1. So he's just going to go for another Shadow Ball, and because I'm Spadef Registeel and he wasn't Life Orb Sam, he was Focus Sash, he is not going to be able to do very much damage. He does have the Focus Blast, as he told me post-game. However, he didn't want to risk Focus Miss, as it's so lovingly called, nicknamed, whatever you want to say. I go for the T-Wave, hoping he would stay in, maybe miss a Focus Blast, and then I could just win the game pretty easily. But he does make the good play and go into Venusaur, not having to risk the Focus Blast miss. And here I make a rather aggressive play and go into my Alomola, and if he had stayed in Mega Evolve and gone for Giga Drain, just trying to get off a little chip damage on Registeel and try instead of going for the Synthesis, I would have probably lost this game. However, it works out for me, as I do get my Regenerator up, so I'm now at a very nice amount of HP. However, if he carries Energy Ball, it's pretty much GG at this point. But if he doesn't, if he carries Psychic, which he does, since he's not Life Orb, he can't kill me. He was Focus Sash, like we saw earlier. Or, well, actually we haven't seen that he's Life Orb yet, but judging from the damage, he's Focus Sash. Which he ends up being, as I live. I'm sorry, I forgot that because of Magic Art it doesn't show if you take Life Orb damage, but yeah, just based on the damage I knew he wasn't Life Orb. So I am able to live that Psychic barely. As you see, I got 17% from the Protect turn, which pretty much guaranteed that I could live, as it wasn't a roll. I do get the kill on Knockoff, which actually happened to be a roll. And here, not wanting to risk him setting up and sweep my team, I just go for the Scald instead of trying to save Alomola. And here, I make a really risky play. As I go into Porygon, and then I switch out into Registeel to bait the superpower, as Porygon cannot live a superpower from neutral. However, it can live one from -1, even Adamant. Max attack Tornadus T cannot kill Porygon with a -1 superpower. And since we've already seen Lumberry, he's not Life Orb, so he has no shot. So he has to switch and sack off the Mega Venusaur, which actually was never a Mega. So what was really key in this battle was allowing Mega Venusaur not to Mega Evolve. never, there was basically no Mega Venusaur, it was actually just Venusaur. So that was a key play in the battle. Plays actually allowing the Mega Venusaur not to Mega Evolve. So here, I really don't want him risking a bulking up, predicting me to save my Porygon to bait a superpower. So I'm just going to sack it off to the superpower, as I know I can take a -1 acrobatics with either Crest or Charizard, barring a crit. And because Charizard is at a little bit over half, I can take the acrobatics and I can finish off with the Flare Blitz. I could KO him anyway from full health, but because I'm -1, that pretty much just guarantees this thing dies. And that, because I died a recoil, that makes it a very narrow 1-0 in my favor. So that was an incredible game, Jolt. You made some incredible plays. I really made no plays, but just man, that game was incredible. So I really want to thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna post Jolt's, not only Jolt's channel, which is a joint channel with some other cool guys, but I'm gonna post his side, as he did actually upload his video earlier to the day I'm posting, or I'm recording this. I'll probably post this the same day he did, just later on in the day, possibly the day after he posted it. So yeah, I'm gonna post a link to that. You could go check out his side. His commentary is much better than mine. I know my commentary was kind of awkward, but I'm kind of dealing with some throat stuff and it's not very fun. So yeah. So that means I will be playing Danza in the championship, as he did actually beat Kyle in his divisional game. And we have a very good matchup against him. However, even though we beat him twice and we have a good matchup, we cannot use that and just roll with it, as if we do that, we will lose if we're overconfident. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Be on the lookout for the championship game, as I'll probably upload that sometime this week, whether it be in the next 3 days or next weekend. So, like I said, thank you guys for watching. I've been Trev, you've been yourself, and peace.